Hi guys, and welcome to this other video. How you all are doing? Well, so today in this video we are going to talk about FortiGate SSL VPN. So in this video we are going to show how it works, the prerequisite, deployment mode, tunneling mode, deployment steps. Then we'll go on the practical and do some settings. So the scenario that we are going to have here is we have a company that has a FortiGate in its headquarters on that network, that which is 192.168.2.0. We have a web server that has that lets user access some web application, and we also have a file share server which will let users to access some shared file. Then you have a remote user who might be from another in another city. So in this video we are going to configure both the FortiGate and the client to let the client set an SSL VPN tunnel to access the headquarter network, to connect to the headquarter network, then access the resources. So before we jump into the deployment of this scenario, let's explain some key concepts of FortiGate SSL VPN. So how does FortiGate SSL VPN work? So FortiGate SSL VPN is a type of VPN that lets users to use the SSL TLS protocol to create a secure encrypted connection to a remote network over the internet. So how does it work? So from the FortiGate side, you do some settings, but from the point of the client side, how does this work? So from the client side, you need to install a FortiClient VPN application on client workstation. Doing this will add a virtual network adapter directly on the client workstation. So when the client connect on the FortiGate VPN app, he will provide the gateway of the remote FortiGate, then enter his user and password. Once connected and properly identified by the FortiGate, an IP address will automatically be assigned to this user from a reserve IP pool that we have configured earlier on the FortiGate device. So when all that is established, then now communication will be encapsulated with the SSL VPN between the two sides. So for the prerequisite, so before you intend to deploy or implement SSL VPN on FortiGate, you need to check for this prerequisite. You need to make sure the FortiGate that you are using is running in the FortiOS version prior to 7.6.3, because with starting from 7.6.3, you will not have a chance to establish tunnel mode. Your FortiGate also needs to have a public IP address or a fully qualified domain name. So you have internet access. You need to have a valid SSL certificate, because the information that will be translating over the cloud will need to be secure over with the SSL certificate. You also need you also need a FortiGate valid license, because with the trial license will not have the chance, you don't have the possibility to do FortiGate SSL VPN, because the encryption protocol and the security level that is available on the trial license is not sufficient to configure FortiGate SSL VPN. And you also need to make sure that the workstation which are going to connect to your FortiGate, they also support TLS 1.2 at the minimum level. So what are the deployment modes? So we mainly have two deployment mode: the clientless, also known as the web mode, and the full tunnel mode. So for the clientless, which is the web mode, as you can see from this image here, if you decide to implement your SSL VPN through using the clientless mode, it means you don't need to install any app on your workstation. Through your web server, you will be able to connect to your remote FortiGate, then enter your credentials. Once the credentials are good, then the FortiGate will let you access the internal network or the company internal network. So this mode is ideal if you want to access only web-based application. So if the internal network is letting you access only the web-based application, so this would be an ideal mode. But if you want to access all type of data, including web and accessing folders or any type of resources that is actually available on the company network. In that case, you need to implement the full tunnel mode. So the tunnel mode, let's say the tunnel mode. So in the tunnel mode, you need to install the FortiClient app on your workstation. So this will be ideal if you need to provide. So this mode will provide you a secure access to a wider range of network resources, including web and non-web application and services. So depending on what you want to share or you want to let access to, you decide which mode you want to choose. In case you choose the tunnel mode, then here you have two main tunneling modes. So depending on the level of security that you want to bring to your network, you will decide either between a full tunneling mode or a split tunneling mode. So in a full tunneling mode, this means once the user is connected to your SSL VPN, all the traffic that goes from the client's workstation is monitored by the FortiGate. So whether it is the traffic going to the internal network of the company or the traffic going to the internet, all will be monitored on the FortiGate. The pro of this is that it provides maximum security as all the traffic is inspected from the corporate network firewall. But the cons of this is that it increases the loads on the VPN tunnel, and your FortiGate also need to have much resources to support all this traffic if you have many users who will be connected simultaneously on the FortiGate through the full channel mode. But you need to take in consideration the fact that all traffic that will go from the workstations will be monitored on the FortiGate. On the other side, you have the split tunneling. So the split tunneling here, once connected to the VPN, only the traffic that goes to the internal network, to the company network, is monitored. Only that traffic is monitored on the FortiGate. The traffic that goes to the internet is managed by the client's ISP or the local network that on which the client is connected. So the pros of this is that it reduces the loads on the VPN server, but the cons are that you have less security, so less secure for general internet browsing, as that traffic is not inspected on your corporate firewall. So depending on the level of security that you have for your company, you might decide to choose either you are going for the full tunnel mode or you are going for the split tunneling. So when it comes for the deployment steps, so you do deployment steps both from the FortiGate and from the client side. So from the FortiGate, what you need to do is to set users and groups. So the users and groups that will be connected from a remote location. You also need to configure SSL VPN portals and VPN settings. Then you need to configure a firewall policy to let the users enter your network and access the resources. You need to create a firewall policy that allows this type of traffic. Optionally, if you decide to do full tunneling, you also need to create a firewall policy to allow the SSL VPN traffic to the internet. So in the full tunnel, it means all traffic, either the one going to your internal network or the one going to the internet, will be monitored on your FortiGate firewall. So you need to create at least two firewall policies for that case. On the client's workstation, if you are going with the web mode, you don't need to deploy any install any FortiClient on your workstation. In that case, you just simply use your web browser to access the FortiGate and access the web applications that are available for you. But if you are going with the tunnel mode, then in that case, you need to download and install the FortiClient. Optionally, you might need to have updated antivirus, and you can, for security reasons, your network admin can also decide what type of operating system you are going to use. So we'll see that in the settings. So for our settings, this our topology. We already showed this. So let's jump into our FortiGate. So once connected to my FortiGate, what I need to do first step is go under user and authentication. So from here, what I need to do is to create a user group. So I'll create a user group called VPN users. So this is going to be a of type firewall. So add. Then I'll go on user definition. I'll just create a test user. So from here, I just want to let you know that the type of user that you are creating here, so the remote users that you are going to use for your FortiGate SSL VPN, those can be users that are local to your FortiGate, like the one we are going to do here, or users that are using LDAP. So maybe you have Active Directory in your company, so the users are connecting through LDAP. So I'll just call this user test VPN, set a password. Okay, next. Two-factor authentication. So here we will not go, we don't, for the case of this video, we're not going to do a multi-factor authentication, but in production environment, it is highly recommended to set up two-factor authentication. So we'll see that in another video. So next, extra information, I need to add this user to a group. Which group? Our group for VPN users. So close, submit. Okay, so now we have our user. So next, what we need to do is to go into the VPN section. So from here, we need to look in the SSL VPN portals. So what are the portals? The portals here are the profile or the deployment mode that you choose to implement. So are you going to implement your VPN connection through web access, through tunnel access, or full access? So you see it here that we have tunnel mode, web mode. So web mode, you only have web enabled. Tunnel, we have only tunnel enabled here. But for full, we have both tunnel mode and web mode that are both enabled. So for this video, we are going to go with tunnel mode. So I'll try to edit this one. So under this one, under tunnel mode, here is where you have the split tunneling. This is where you need to decide whether you are going with split tunneling or not. As we explained, for here in the split tunneling, if you hit disable, it means that all client traffic will be directed over the SSL VPN tunnel. This means if you decide to disable split tunneling, it means that you are going with full tunneling. It means all traffic from client's workstation will go through the VPN. If you are going with split tunneling, you have two ways. Either you go with enable it based on policy destination, or you enable it based on trusted destination. So here we are going with enabled based on policy destination. So we are going to define the firewall policy that will let this client to the destination traffic. So here we also have the source IP pool. So the source IP pool here is the pool from where IP addresses will be assigned to the remote users when they are connected through the SSL VPN interface. So you can see that by default on each FortiGate you have this IP pool that is always available. All you can do also is you can add your own personal IP pool if you need. So in this case, we are not going to do that. So here, other thing you can do, you can even, as I was explaining in the slides, you can restrict access to some operating systems. So for security reasons, you can decide that any workstation that is on Windows 7 will not have access to the VPN. Any workstation that is on Windows 8.1 cannot access. Only workstations that are on Windows 10 and Windows 11 can access. You can do the same with Macintosh, Mac OS systems. So here all is good for the portal. I'll hit save. Then next, now I'll go under SSL VPN settings. So from here, this is where I need to configure my SSL VPN settings. So here I need to choose what is the interface, the publicly facing internet interface. So for my case, it's the one. So here they said there is a poor conflict with the administrative HTTPS port for this system, because actually my administrative access to this firewall is done through the default 443 port. So we cannot have the same port both for administrative access and for SSL VPN. That's why I need to change, to update this information here. So I'll add 10 in front. So also for the server certificate, so it's also recommended to use a trusted certificate rather than using the default FortiGate certificates. So here I also have a Let's Encrypt certificate that I deployed earlier. Also, we saw how to deploy this SSL certificate in the previous video. We have it on this channel. So here below, all we're going to do now here is to go under this section, authentication and portal mapping. So when users are authenticated on the FortiGate firewall, to what or to which portal are we going to redirect them? So here I will say create new. So from here I will say all the users that are in the VPN user group, when they are authenticated on the FortiGate firewall, let them have access through the tunnel access, so tunnel mode access. So hit OK. So I can hit apply. So now next, what I need to do is to go under policy and objects, firewall policy, create new. So here what I need to do is I will give a name, VPN, let's just see, VPN to corporate network. Let's just say like this. So the incoming interface here will be the SSL VPN tunnel interface. So you will see that by default on all FortiGate devices, you have this SSL VPN tunnel interface that is available. So when you decide to configure SSL VPN, it means that the remote user who will be connecting will be coming into your FortiGate through this interface. So this is the incoming interface for this case. So I'll select this, I'll select it. Select. The outgoing interface is the one interface. So for the source, the users who will be connecting are coming from which source? So initially we'll say we need to select all. So you select all, then you will still add, because one, you need to initially you need to say you are using all as source. Then you need to also add a specific user or a specific group from which the user will be coming from. So here in my case, I go under user, then here I'll select the group VPN users. So that's it. Destination. So when the users are trying to connect, so if you see from here, if the user are trying to connect to FortiGate, where are they going to land? I want them to land under this to have access to this network, because on the FortiGate, this is one subnet. Maybe on the FortiGate you have many other subnets, but I want the remote users, when they are connected, to land on this 192.168.2.0 subnet. So this is going to be the destination. So for my FortiGate here, I have this company network. It is an address that I will just select because it is there. So I'll select this company network. As you can see, when I hover over it, you see it's the 192.168.2.0 subnet. So this is the destination network. So I hit this one. So what services are we letting users access? For the case of this video, I'll just say all for now. So all is good. I don't need to change any other information. All I need to do here is hit OK. Okay, so my firewall policy is here. So now what I need to do is to jump on my remote user. So now we are connected to our remote desktop. So from this desktop, you can check to see IP config. So this workstation is on another network. So remotely we can also try to ping the company network, so like the default gateway. So here we don't have access. So also from the remote desktop, so the distance workstation, you need to connect to FortiGate website under downloads menu. So from here we need to download the FortiClient app that we need. So from here you need to pay attention, because you might download the wrong app. So here you see FortiGate FortiClient 7.4. we go below ZTNA edition. So you have many editions of FortiGate or FortiClient apps that are available. So the one that we are looking for is FortiClient VPN only. So make sure you are downloading the FortiClient VPN only software that is suitable for your edition. So here, as I said, we have access to internet on this workstation, but from this workstation, for now, we don't have access to the remote for the remote company network. So now that our FortiClient is here, we need to configure it. So what I'll do configure. So here I'll just call VPN. Then here I need to provide the remote IP address, or the IP address of my firewall, either IP address or the fully qualified domain name. So also customize the custom port that you decided to use for your SSL VPN. So in our case was 10.443. So all is good from here. So what I need to do, just hit save. So here I need to use the test user account that we created earlier. So I'll hit test VPN, enter the password that we use. So here I'll set connect. So they will try to establish a connection to the remote FortiGate. Then on the remote FortiGate, we need to approve the SSL certificate that is going to be used to encrypt the communication between our FortiClient and the remote network. So here I hit okay. So the connection is being established. So now you have FortiClient connection to FortiClient. So if I hit again here to display the FortiGate, so here we see that we are actually connected to the FortiGate, and we can see that now the ping to the remote the gateway of the remote network is now accessible. So from here, I think I have a web server on that network, company network, that I can try to access. So under 192.168.2.82. Yeah, so we have access to that remote network. So we also have, as we said, we also have some file shares that we can try to access. So I think I have a file share under server 192.168.2.36. Hit enter. Okay, so we also have access to the file share that is also on that subnet. So from here, if I'm a user from the marketing department, I can access marketing information and update some information. If this web portal, this internal web portal, is a web app that lets us access information regarding reviews and reports about what was done during the day. So this can be also used for that purpose. So here, guys, we are done with this video. Hope this was interesting. If you have any question, let us know in the comment section. Then see you guys in the next video.